So today is August the 31st, and it is a special day for me because today is the day that I can officially say that I pulled the trigger and ordered me a M1 Mac Mini. Let's talk about it. So like I said earlier, guys, I ordered my Mac Mini M1 today, and I am actually stoked about it. I got my iPad right here so that I can kind of give you guys the configuration that I went with my Mac Mini. But before I do that, I just kind of want to give you guys just a little bit of insight on why I got the M1 Mac Mini and answer at least two questions that I think that you guys may have. And question number one that I think you guys would probably have for me would be why come I didn't go with something like the Mac Studio or a MacBook Pro or something to that effect. Well, the first thing is that I'm not a fan of laptops. I'm not a huge fan of laptops. I never really cared for laptops. I will use them, and I have had them in the past, but I'm not a laptop fan. I'm more of a tablet and a desktop type of a person. Primarily, I'm a Windows user. I've never had a Mac computer ever, so this will be my first attempt at jumping into the Mac ecosystem, the Apple ecosystem fully, right? My wife has an M1 MacBook Air, and I still to this day have never used that laptop. Now, the laptops that I did have in the past, they all got slow and so forth and so on, and I think that's one of the main reasons why I just always said, you know what, I stick to a desktop when it comes down to having an actual PC instead of a laptop. But when Apple came out with this iPad right here, the iPad Air 4, that's when I decided to go ahead and jump into the iPad and completely do away with my laptops. And that's when I gave my daughter my laptop, and I gave my son my actual PC that's over there that doesn't work now. And I went full-fledged iPad. And now I'm at the point where I need to go ahead and get me a PC. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and get me a M1 Mac Mini. Now, why didn't I go with the Studio? The reason why I didn't go with the Studio, because I know exactly what I need the M1 Mac Mini for. And just to have a studio, just to be saying I have a studio with all this extra power and so forth, is really not going to benefit me based off of my workflow. So based off of the things that I'm going to be using my iPad and my Mac Mini for, I don't need all that extra power. I don't need anything that the studio really has to offer me besides being able to gloat and say, hey, I got a studio and it can do this, right? I'm not going to be making music on the Mac Mini. I'm going to continue to do that on my iPad because over the years I've dumbed down making music all the way down to an iPad, and I don't plan on changing that. So I don't need a studio for that aspect. I will be investing in Final Cut Pro at some point, but I'm 100% sure that the M1 Mac Mini will be able to handle what I throw at Final Cut Pro. You know what I mean? So that's that question. And the other question I think that you guys possibly could have is September 7th, I think, is when Apple's going to announce new products and things like that. So I'm pretty sure some of you guys may be thinking, why come I didn't just wait to see if they're going to come out with an M2 Mac Mini? And the reason that I'm not waiting is because I am the type of person that does not have to have the latest and greatest. Keep in mind, before they do their announcement, the latest and greatest is the M1 Mac Mini. So right now I am purchasing the latest and greatest. But if they do come out with a Mac Mini M2, maybe in the future, I may look at probably getting one, but I'm not 100% sure because I got a feeling that this M1 Mac Mini is going to support and be able to be used here in my household for at least the next 7 to 8 years or so. And on top of that, this is my first time, like I said, jumping into, the whole Mac, OS and so forth, man. I've never had a Mac computer ever, so this is going to be my first stint, and I didn't want to go out and spend all this money on a Mac Studio and all this stuff and possibly not like it, have to turn it in and so forth. So, I'm going to jump in with the M1 Mac Mini. I'm going to ride out with the Mac Mini for as long as the PC is going to work. Now, real quick, I just kind of wanted to tell you guys the configuration that I went with. So right here on my iPad, I went with the Apple M1 chip, 8-core CPU, 8-core GPU, 16-core neural engine. I went with the 16 gigabytes of RAM because I've seen over the time, and because I'm a computer head as well, I know that 8 gigs of RAM is not going to do anything for me. So I just went ahead and maxed it out at 16 gigs of RAM. And I went with one terabyte of SSD storage. And the reason I went with the 1 terabyte of SSD storage, although I know I could have went lower and just got me an external SSD, is because I know with my workflow, I do get a little lazy with cleaning up, my devices, right? So like right now, for instance, on my iPad, I could probably do like 1 or 2 videos or edit some photos, and it's going to be kind of maxed out until I actually transfer things over to my hard drive, my external hard drive. And because I know I don't always do that, I wanted to go ahead and get, 1 terabyte of SSD so I can have a little bit of space, a little buffer there that I can, if I want to leave a project on the Mac Mini, I can do that and do it comfortably, right? But I still will be investing in another SSD. So let me give you guys a couple of quick cases and scenarios of why I decided to go with it and how I'm going to be using it with my iPad. So the reason I got it was because I need a PC and I didn't want to go back to Windows right now, and I wanted to try something different. And because I'm already in the Apple ecosystem, like I said I was going to go ahead and get me a Mac Mini, and today was the day I pulled that trigger on it. And the way I'm going to be using it is as an extension of my iPad. So my plan is to, continue to do my YouTube and so forth and so on. And when I'm doing any type of content creation, I'm going to continue to do my content creation on my actual iPad, but I'm going to push the projects over to the Mac Mini. So for instance, I use LumaFusion and iMovie, but I specifically use LumaFusion right here on my iPad. And I can do a project, use my pen and so forth and so on, my pencil. I can do the whole project. And instead of rendering it down right here on my iPad, I can be doing something different with my iPad. So I can push that project over to the M1 Mac Mini, let the Mac Mini finish it up. While that's happening, I can be, editing photos and so forth and still walking around, with my iPad in my hand while the Mac Mini is doing all of the rendering and all of the heavy lifting for the iPad. So basically the iPad is going to do the front load, and on the back loading, it'll be the M1 Mac Mini to kind of carry to carry us to the finish line. And on top of that, I'll just be using it for other daily taskers. I'll probably do a couple of live streams with you guys, try to get that stuff set up and things like that. But ultimately, the goal is to just use it for content creation and just typical everyday, just regular tasks. I won't be gaming on it. And if I do game, I'll let you guys know, but I don't really plan on gaming on the Mac Mini at all. That's just a quick update for you guys. I wanted to let you know that the M1 Mac Mini is coming, and I have an estimated delivery date. Right now, it says it's in prepared to ship mode, and it says between the 9th and the 14th of September. So as soon as I get it, we'll do a little unboxing, and then I will go from there. And I do plan on getting another monitor at some point, because the monitor that I have is kind of an old monitor, but I'm pretty sure it'll work with my Mac Mini for now. But I do plan on getting another monitor, and if that monitor comes in at some point, I'll make sure I show you guys that as well. All right, so again, I just wanted to let you guys know that the M1 Mac Mini is on the way, and it should be here soon. And when it gets here, we will dive into it. We'll talk about it and so forth and so on. All right, so with that being said, it's been your boy Jay. See you guys in the next video. Peace.